6:55 right now. A reminder, the news does not end here. Here's what's coming up at 7 a.m. on WCNC Plus.
A tornado rips through parts of buildings here in Northeast Charlotte. We speak to an owner of one of the properties hit. We also hear from the National Weather Service about this tornado coming up.
As cleanup continues, we verify who pays for certain damage to your property, and we tell you what you should do now if you're dealing with fallen trees.
The city of Charlotte is planning its budget for the next fiscal year, and city leaders want you to be involved. Coming up, I'm breaking down opportunities as early as tonight for you to learn how the budget works and make your voice heard.
And it's St. Patrick's Day.
That's right. A look at the deals that can save you some green. Those stories and much more live, local, and breaking news coming up at 7 a.m. on WCNC Plus.
All right, don't forget to wear your green today. A few accidents to let you know about before you head out the door this morning. This one here is starting to see some delays. It's on Brookshire Boulevard, outbound at I-85. This is our newest one here, Church Street at West 11th Street. And if you're taking Independence, you'll want to know about this. It's outbound lanes there at Harris Boulevard. 3 active crashes for you right there. We'll have more coming up on WCNC Plus. It's going to be a beautiful afternoon.
And it is St. Patrick's Day, and we love seeing your green. Look at those cute kids getting ready for school. Oh my gosh, we hope they have the most fantastic day. Oh, a green cat-ish. Okay, perfect. Thanks so much. There's still time. Text us 704-329-3600. We'll share them over on WCNC Plus.
A green cat would be newsworthy, though.
Right?
that was good. Oh, hey.
It's great to be here. Happy St. Patty's Day, everybody. The luck of the Irish be with you.
Happy St. Patty's Day.
Streaming live right now at 7 a.m. right here on WCNC Plus. I'm Ben Thompson.
And I'm Lisa Washington. We start off the half hour with a check of that WCNC weather impact forecast, and we are in the low 30s this morning.
I know, it's crazy. 31 degrees right now. This is a huge difference compared to just 24 hours ago. I just realized I still have my necklace on from Leapin' Larry, who was just over. Hopefully he joins us at some point here on the stream. So cheers. Happy St. Patrick's Day. 37 degrees difference is what we have compared to just one day ago. And it's really insane to think about that we were in the upper 60s yesterday at this time, and now we have freezing temperatures across the board. So 31 degrees. This is actually our first freezing temperature that we have had since February 24th. So it has literally been over 3 weeks since we've been this cold. And we also have a winter weather advisory up in the mountains. Look at all these tire tracks that we have up here. It was mainly up to about an inch of snow accumulations around the Boone area, but then about 1 to 3 so at some of the higher elevations from what I was seeing. Not a lot of snow reports actually came in from this, but all in all, just some lingering flurries are still flying here up in the high country. And meanwhile, up on Beach Mountain, it's 9 degrees. That's right, feeling like 0 to negative values. And the wind chills are going to be a major factor, especially the higher you go up. Again, this goes until 8 o'clock for 3,500 feet and above, because it's a lot windier the higher you go up in the mountains. So 18 degrees feels like 6, 16 feels like 3 for you in Jefferson and Ashe County, 31 feeling like 23 here in Charlotte, feeling like 24 around Monroe, and then 30 is actually feeling like 30 in Lincoln because you actually have a calm wind right now. For your St. Patrick's Day forecast, we have some golden sunshine. We also have more of a pot of cold throughout the rest of the day. Temperatures in the mid to the upper 40s, sub 50 degrees. Yikes status. So this is definitely a winter day, but the good news is we will get a little bit better on the back end of the forecast. Right now we are looking at a blank slate here on our satellite and radar imagery, but check out the storm reports from yesterday. We had 64 wind damage reports across the Carolinas. 56 of those were in North Carolina, and specifically our tornado warnings started here in southern Cleveland County, went all the way through Mecklenburg County, and another one was close to Stanley County. That's where we saw most of the damage. And the one tornado report that we had over 299 of them in the United States was in Mecklenburg County. So we had the only tornado that was officially reported by the National Weather Service. There might be some other surveys that are going on today elsewhere across the United States and the Carolinas. Our 7-day forecast brought to you by the Jerry Hunt Super Center. Cold for the next couple of days. This morning, we're around 30. Tomorrow, mainly the upper 30s. Freezing start on Thursday, but then check it out. On the way up, 72 degrees for spring, so at least spring is springing again. Temperatures in the 80s for the weekend before an eventual cool down, but don't worry about that. Just note that it does get better after the next couple of days. All right, let's get over to Majestic, wearing green, not being pinched for our morning commute.
Can't be pinched. Gotta wear your green today. Look at my map. Lots of green, thankfully, but unfortunately, we are starting to see more icons popping up. So let's get to a few important things you'll want to know about if you are heading out the door anytime soon. This right here, it's I-77 northbound right before Carowinds Boulevard. This is exit 90. It's backed up to about exit 85. So there's the crash. There's the delay there. It's about a 5-mile delay as you're heading inbound out towards Fort Mill. So if you're in Fort Mill, you hop on I-77, you're trying to head towards uptown, you will have a bit of a slowdown. At least we don't have red, meaning we don't have stop and go traffic. I would just add in an additional 10 extra minutes for that morning commute. Another thing is Brookshire Boulevard. It's the outbound lanes there at I-85 where delays are starting to build. Right in uptown, Church Street at West 11th Street. An accident happened there at the intersection. Not seeing significant delays with that. And then Independence, a crash just happening about 5 minutes ago. It's not inbound, rather outbound lanes at Harris Boulevard. I'll keep a close eye on that for you, and we'll watch as things do change over the next couple of hours. Guys.
Majestic, thanks. More than 1,000 folks waking up still without power this morning. The biggest clusters in South Charlotte off Scaly Bark Road and in East Charlotte in the Silverwood neighborhood. Duke says restoration times may be delayed and that current estimates may need to be adjusted. Speaking of East Charlotte, we're learning more about what caused the outages in the Eastway community. A large tree fell near Highland Drive off of a plaza. Duke Energy says the tree also damaged some electrical equipment. Neighbors say they were out of power for a big part of the day.
I got the alert on my phone first, and within minutes, like a fierce storm came through, and immediately our power went out. There are lots of trees here and low-hanging lines.
The storm, it sounded like a big boom, like it was scary, kind of, like it was thunder and stuff with it.
A reminder, Duke says stay away from down lines and report them if you see them. A Northeast Charlotte warehouse now needs repairs after a confirmed tornado ripped off its roof. WCNC Charlotte's Richard Devane now live, serving the damage on Atondo Avenue. So, Richard, we know that owner. He was inside when this all unfolded. What did he have to say about it?
Yeah, he said pretty much the same thing that a lot of people say when they hear a tornado. They say it sounded like a train. Good morning to you, Ben. Good morning to you, Lisa. Good Tuesday morning, everybody. Now, that incident happened at Michael Birch's company, which is just up the street a bit from where I'm standing. You can see right over here in another business, we actually spoke with someone there. They say that was the first sign of that tornado that was blowing through this area. Yes, and now we can tell you a confirmed tornado caused damage right here in Northeast Charlotte, leaving behind debris, but fortunately no injuries. The National Weather Service says an EFO tornado with winds reaching 85 miles per hour touched down around 10 yesterday morning here on Atondo Avenue. The warehouse is owned by Leonard Birch, who founded Superior Mechanical, was working when the storm actually tore through the building. He says he quickly realized what was happening as strong winds moved through the area. Video from the scene shows debris scattered across the property with pallets thrown into the air. The tornado also ripped a large section of metal roofing off of one of his warehouses, sending it into a nearby trailer facility. But the good news, despite the damage, there were no injuries reported.
So it was 1.5 miles long was the total path, and it started just southwest of here and then ended just to the northeast. So this was the worst damage, was right in here. The additional damage was mainly limited to a few snapped tree limbs and some snapped trees as well.
Whenever the storm or the wind hit, it came in, they hit the button to lower the door and the wind took it back up. And then it came through here and for some reason went back up at that spot there and just ripped the roof off.
Yeah, Mr. Birch says he's already working on having that ceiling replaced or that roof replaced. As for the roof right there that you're looking at, that hole in the side of that building, they say they hadn't gotten up to the building, to the roof yet to look at or assess the damage. But when they will, they'll then figure out how much and how long it'll take them to get that fixed. The good news in all of this, that storm which you heard the National Service person talk about, no injuries reported. We're right here in Northeast Charlotte. Richard Devane, we'll send it back to you.
And that is the best part. Richard, thank you so much for that. Now, many people faced with damage are left wondering what comes next. We spoke with Charmec Emergency Management on how you can report storm damage in your area.
We encourage folks that if you see a tree blocking a roadway or if there's a life-threatening emergency, to call 911 to make sure that we can send crews out there to clear roadways, clear down power lines and things like that. Again, if you've got questions about city or county services or, minor damage, trees blocking roadway or blocking sidewalks or yards, call 311.
From severe storms to the freezing temperatures, make sure that you stay with us all morning here on WCNC Plus for the latest information to keep you and your family warm and safe.
Right now, Hickory police arrested a man facing several felony warrants. Reports say police found Johnny Lale unresponsive in a car Monday morning. Officers took him into custody and then sending him to the hospital for an evaluation. He has 10 felony warrants, including felony possession and failure to register as a sex offender. An 18-year-old now in jail after a deadly shooting in Lancaster County. Police say DeAndre Ivey shot and killed 37-year-old Justin Bailey at a home on Thompson Road in Lancaster. They tell us the two were arguing before the shooting. Ivey now being held without bond.
7:09 now. The fight against the Silfab facility in Fort Mill continues. Just yesterday, the group Move Silfab showed up to the York County Council meeting to protest that plant, which had 2 chemical incidents, a leak and a spill earlier this month. WCNC Charlotte's Tradisha Woodard was there and shares what the community members are calling for.
Well, dozens stood outside this chamber, boiling with frustration, hoping that this time county leaders will take action against Silfab Solar.
Greg Suskin, tell the truth.
From the streets,
Fire the county manager,
to the seats of power.
All that it takes for bad things to happen is for good people to do nothing.
York County residents making their message impossible to ignore.
That is what leadership looks like.
While some simply want stronger oversight of Silfab Solar operating near neighborhoods and schools. Others are pushing leaders to go as far as revoking the facility's certificate of occupancy.
Revoke the CO and protect our kids.
This comes after 2 recent incidents forced the plant to temporarily shut down operations.
The risk is real. It was a warning shot and we got lucky.
The concerns were still not directly addressed by county leaders, but Silfab Solar released a statement saying they're taking steps to address the situation, including working with a qualified third-party professional engineer while updating the state, county, and school officials about work being done at the site. Silfab says it remains committed to the safety of its employees and the surrounding community. But for some, the pressure isn't letting up.
And we want the county to feel the pressure to do what's right and make that happen.
Tradisha Woodard, WCNC Charlotte.
Right now, the family of a toddler who died at a Lenore daycare last summer is now suing the former employee involved.
Last May, 16-month-old Maddie Mitchell was found unresponsive after she went into cardiac arrest at Creative Beginnings Daycare. State health officials suspended the center's license and ordered it to close. The former daycare employee, Alexandra Coffey, was later charged with involuntary manslaughter.
That lawsuit claims that Coffey placed Maddie face down on a sleeping mat, covered her head with a blanket, and laid on top of her. It also alleges that she left the girl unattended for nearly 3 hours without checking on her. Authorities say Maddie died from smothering and not breathing. The family is seeking damages, requesting that a jury determine the amount. The Kennedy Center is set to close for 2 years for major renovations. We're going to look at why critics warn this shutdown could have long-lasting effects.
.14 right now, despite President Trump's demands that allies help secure the Strait of Hormuz. Those allies are resisting stepping in.
This as the president is insisting prices for oil and gas will fall once this war ends. Though, as NBC's Alice Barr reports, neither the president nor Iran says they are inclined to make a deal.
This morning, smoke rising over the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad as Iran lashes out at American targets across the region, while still attacking tankers in the Strait of Hormuz, aiming to drive oil prices up even more. President Trump upping the pressure on U.S. allies to help secure and unblock that crucial oil route.
They should be not only thanking us, they should be helping us. What does surprise me is that they're not eager.
The European Union's foreign policy chief saying member nations don't have the appetite for a stepped-up military presence in the strait.
This is not Europe's war.
President Trump clearly frustrated with NATO allies.
40 years we're protecting you and you don't want to get involved.
While insisting some countries have agreed to help without naming them.
We have some that are really enthusiastic. They're coming already.
As gas prices soar here at home, up nearly 80 cents a gallon in a month, critics are slamming the president's strategy in the strait.
He's done a terrible job planning in advance for how to stop it from being used as a weapon.
And as they push for a way out, new details from 6 people with knowledge of the plans telling NBC News President Trump is presented regularly with options to end the war, but hasn't taken any so far.
We want to have it ended so that another president doesn't have. Look, for 47 years, no president was willing to do what I'm doing.
The president also asserting Iran wants to negotiate while saying he doesn't know who to speak to with many leaders killed. Iran's top diplomat has said his country sees no reason to negotiate with the U.S. The sources NBC News spoke to about White House exit strategy discussions say those in favor of getting out are concerned about the oil crisis and economic instability, while other aides have focused on the opportunity to erode Iran's influence in the region. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
7:16 right now, the Kennedy Center set to go dark for 2 years. On Monday, the Board of Performing Arts Institution voted to approve a temporary closure for renovations. The president said the shutdown will allow work to be completed more quickly. Critics warn a long closure like this could drive away performers, donors, and audience, with impacts that could take years to reverse.
The Supreme Court says it will decide whether the Trump administration can end temporary deportation protections for hundreds of thousands of people from Haiti and Syria. Temporary protected status allows people from certain countries affected by conflict, upheaval, or natural disasters to live and work in the U.S. legally. Haiti was designated for TPS in 2010 after a devastating earthquake. Syria received it in 2012 following a brutal crackdown by their former president. While protections have been repeatedly extended, the administration says it's no longer necessary. The court has set oral arguments for late April.
All right, who's ready for a St. Patrick's Day trivia? Which state had the first St. Patrick's Day parade? Was it A, Massachusetts, B, New York, C, Illinois, or D, Florida? The answer after the break.
It makes you just want to do a jig, right, Chris?
I think this you can't see my footwork because it just looks like I'm kind of hopping around.
Is it fancy footwork?
It's very basic jig. I'm just letting you know. All right, so for St. Patrick's Day, we're in the spirit of we're doing a St. Patrick's Day trivia question.
Yes.
Which state had the very first St. Patrick's Day parade? Massachusetts, New York, Illinois, or Florida?
B, New York.
I'm going to say that. Am I doing some leprechaun tricks on you? Is this a trick question?
I was going to say A.
That was going to be my second choice. Wait, so you're saying it might not be any of them?
No, it will be one of them.
Okay, I say B, New York.
What about you, Ben?
I'll say A.
It's Florida.
Wow, trick question.
So, according to the St. Augustine Church, that it was 1601, Spanish Florida claims that they had the very first St. Patrick's Day parade.
Wow.
And now we know something
And now
we didn't know.
That's why I said it was some leprechaun tricks for you. So if anyone got that right, good for you, because I actually literally just learned this. I used to think it was Massachusetts being from Boston. So I got it wrong. No life points for me. All right, happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody. Thanks for playing. By the way, by the end of the week, we are going to be kind of doing this music. I love that. It makes me also feel like a game show host. Our vernal equinox officially is on Friday at 10:46, and it's at that point temperatures are really jumping. Right now, we are almost having that last blast of winter, but just let you know, this is how things usually go. There's always that sneaky April day that tries to challenge freezing one more point, but usually it's around tax day that we can say, hey, our frost potential is pretty much out the window, but there's always a chance. Just letting you know that our freezing temperatures are this morning, tomorrow, and Thursday, and after that, we don't see them for the foreseeable future. So the start of spring definitely is spring-like. Today I have a high of 48. Tomorrow I have a high of 49, and then up like the fury here at Carowinds. Then eventually we see a big drop to the 60s and then the 50s, and we'll see a nice little comeback to the 70s. This time of year, we should mainly be hanging out in the 60s, but what keeps happening is we get to the 60s and then we surpass it into the 70s and 80s. So maybe many of you are like, okay, that's awesome. If you like the 60s, I'm sorry. We haven't been able to do it. So this is what makes an average that we're either going way below or way above, where through this time frame, we're going to see our average high actually jump from 65 to 66 degrees, officially ending at 68 by the end of the month. Now, our low temperatures, as I mentioned, the freezing status is just a set of 3, including this morning, so we're almost already done with that. And then we mainly have the 40s, a little bit closer to where we should be, mixing with the 50s. As far as our rain chances over the next 10 days, we have one daytime rain chance that separates itself. That is next Tuesday, but I think our legitimate next rain chance will be Thursday evening and Thursday night, when many of us are sleeping. All right, that concludes our 10-day forecast. Let's get right over to Majestic, see if anything's changed since last time we talked traffic.
7:23 right now, and it is starting to get busy now that we are really in that prime time rush hour as people are rushing off to wherever they need to be. Here's the thing, we have multiple wrecks, and let me tell you about a couple important ones. This one here, it's on I-77, it's northbound lane, so coming in from York County, heading into Mecklenburg County, maybe heading towards Uptown. It's right before Carowinds Boulevard, that's exit 90. It's backed up about 5 miles out near Fort Mill. You can see that delay. I would say plan for at least 5 to 10 extra minutes to get to where you need to be. It's not a stop and go, it's just going to slow you down just a bit. Here's one of my cameras showing you perspective of that exact same area. So again, you can see cars are moving, but they are starting to really get jam-packed. I-77 northbound, that's out near Carowinds, so that's mile marker 90. Another important one is right here, Brookshire Boulevard outbound at I-85, starting to see some delays. And then right here in Uptown, this is Church Street at West 11th Street, right in that intersection where a crash has been reported. It is still not cleared.
Majestic, thanks. 7:24 now. Time for us to take a quick break, but we'll be right back streaming live here on WCNC Plus. Stay with us.
Good morning, everyone. We have not been this cold for 3 weeks. We're 31 degrees right now. Last time we were this cold was 22 days ago on February 24th. Yikes. It's much colder in other areas. 29 for you in Lincoln, 26 in Morganton, 17 for you in Boone. This is a big temperature change as well. Up to 40 degrees colder compared to just a day ago. Now, yesterday we had our high of 68 degrees during the morning time at this time, and we also had a bunch of storms that were on the way. But for your St. Patty's Day, all is well. Golden sunshine for us to enjoy. On and off gusts, though, up to 20 miles per hour, making it feel close to 40 on and off through the afternoon. Our 7-day forecast brought to you by the Jerry Hunt Super Center. Keeps it cold over the next couple of days. Both days in the upper 40s, but then the 60s, the 70s, and the 80s are on tap heading towards the weekend. All right, Majestic, take it away. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Patrick's Day, don't forget to wear your green today. You don't want to get pinched. Here we go. We have lots to talk about. We're going to be covering all this on WCNC Plus from 7 to 9 o'clock this morning. But one thing to know before you go is this crash right here reported about 10 minutes ago. I-77 northbound right before Carowinds Boulevard. That's exit 90. We're seeing a delays taking you all the way back to exit 85. That's out near Fort Mill. Here's a live camera look of it. You can see it is starting to get jam-packed.
Thanks for streaming live on WCNC Plus at 7:30. I'm Lisa Washington.
And I'm Ben Thompson. First up this half hour, a look at your weather impact forecast. Much calmer than yesterday, Chris, but a lot colder as well.
Oh, 100%. All of us are at the freezing point, but I do have a little beauty to today. Yesterday, we didn't really see the sunshine except for right before the storms. But look at those beautiful yellows and oranges that we have over here in Lylesville. So our Mr. Sparky camera live on the camera network showing two things: that we have a mostly clear sky for pretty much most of the area, but then also that camera is shaking around because it is also a breezy day. So we're going to have those wind chills on and off that are getting up to around a 20-mile-per-hour gust, making it feel like 20 to 25 over the next couple of hours, and either side of 40 degrees on and off throughout the day today. Our storm reports yesterday, pretty widespread. We had a lot of wind damage across the area. Maybe you didn't have anything in your house, but others saw a lot in their neighborhoods. 64 wind damage reports across the Carolinas alone. There were 299 total storm reports across 11 states yesterday. One of them was a tornado, and that one was right here in Mecklenburg County, which you can't even see. It was covered up. We were showing you this, myself, Majestic, and Brad. We're all live here on WCNC Plus, and we could see that something was starting to pop right around Brookshire Boulevard, and then it really started to grow as it got closer to Atondo Avenue, and that's exactly what happened here. So most likely what happened is you started to see the tornado drop down right here. It chopped off the top of this tree and then came down and ripped the roof off of here. We're going to hear more from the people that were impacted by this business a little bit later on. And whenever you have kind of crumpled sheet metal like that, that's more indicative of a tornado compared to it just blowing off in the wind. And our Charlotte Atondo tornado was only on the ground for a couple of minutes, and the max width was 25 yards. It was a path length about 1.5 miles, and 85 miles per hour is almost EF2. So 65 to 85 is an EF0. 90 would have put this up to EF1, but we just weren't quite there. That was around 9:39 yesterday. Our winter weather alerts, we also have this above 3,500 feet. This goes until 8 o'clock, so we're almost done with this with some blowing snow. I think he's still going to have some flurries on and off, but really no additional snowfall is expected. But for your St. Patrick's Day, this is the coldest day of the week, barely by 1 degree. Tomorrow we have more clouds, starting off a little bit colder, 49 degrees, the 60s, 70s, and 80s, a nice little warm-up. So I know that this is a little shock and awe to the system, but I guarantee you just to get through the next couple of days, and then we're back to normal and even well above that. All right, let's get right on Majestic on the St. Patty's Day.
We are looking at an active start to the day. It was quiet this morning. Now that we're in that 7:30 time frame, you know how it goes. It is busy, lots of icons popping up. We have our typical delays, then a handful of ongoing wrecks. This one here is still the biggest delay. It's on I-77 northbound lane, so heading towards Uptown. It's right at exit 90. That's Carowinds Boulevard. We are seeing a delay that's about 5 miles at exit 85. That's out near Fort Mill. Here's one of our live camera looks, giving you some perspective on that crash here. At least all lanes are moving at this point, but they're just moving rather slowly. So again, that's out near the Carowinds exit 90. Another thing here is we're seeing delays coming in both directions. This is Brookshire Boulevard, outbound lanes being highly impacted, but both directions are seeing a bit of a delay there at I-85. This is here in Uptown, Church Street at West 11th Street, and then once we're hopping down to Independence, we have a crash. It's actually on the outbound lanes where the crash is impacting traffic. Those northbound lanes, though, they're just busy as people are all headed towards the Uptown area. Guys.
The weather impacts of the storm still lingering around this morning. Some down power lines, hidden debris, weakened trees can all pose serious risks in the hours ahead.
And so many of you shared photos and videos of the aftermath of what you saw during that storm. Take a look at this one. You can see the awning. This is at a Monroe gas station. It just toppled over. This is off Highway 74 heading into the town of Wingate.
In Cornelius, town officials there sharing these images of a large tree down after wind gusts. It happened on Meridian Street, knocking down power lines. From this angle, you can see just how big that root system was. Speaking of power lines, thousands of homes and businesses remain without power as we speak. Duke Energy says more than 1,000 customers in Charlotte still waiting for crews to restore their power. The number down, though, from 15,000 yesterday. A closer look at some of the numbers showed the biggest clusters in East Charlotte, in the Silverwood neighborhood, and in South Charlotte along Scaly Bark Road.
And the Triad, the Duke Energy crews are still working to restore power to more than 1,000 customers in Guilford County.
WCNC Charlotte's Giselle Thomas now live from the neighborhood with about 400 outages right now. And while she was out there this morning, saw something quite unusual. Giselle, explain.
Yes, so we've been out here all morning. When I tell you guys, it was a sight you will never forget. We're out here off of Forest Valley Road. Now, in this area, it was completely pitch black just about 2 hours ago. Over here where you can see this tree, there was a glowing light that came from that area. We heard buzzing and sizzling, and then we also saw some smoke. Take a look at this picture. It's something that just sticks in your mind for a while. Following that, we then reached out to our local Guilford EMS service. They say that fire was on the way, so they came out here, checked it out, only stayed for about 5 minutes or so, and then we also saw 2 utility vehicles come into the area, and they've since left. Seeing something like that just really goes to show how when it comes to power outage, how it's such a delicate thing that's going on when it comes to fixing that and also making sure that things are clear and that people have their power restored. We know that this neighborhood has about 460 customers that are still without power, and then all throughout the Greensboro area, there's little clusters of power outages that are still there. That includes off of Lawndale Drive, also Sunset Hills, and the Westerwood neighborhood. We were able to check in with Duke Energy, who says that right now they're really just seeing some of those spotty outage areas, and a lot of it is isolated. They're just working on assessing some of those situations. As we know, we had those really powerful windstorms that came through the area the other day. We also did speak to a Duke Energy spokesperson who shares a little bit about what you can do if you are still experiencing a power outage.
You rely on electricity for medical needs. Where would you go if you had to be without power for several hours? If you don't have that issue, you have a generator, for example, how do you operate that in a safe, well-ventilated way that will protect you and your family?
Now, going back to that picture that we showed you guys earlier, just to be clear, when we did reach out to the fire department, they did confirm that there was no active fire. So right now I am in the process of reaching out to Duke Energy to see kind of what happened there. We're trying to figure out exactly what caused that bright glow. Back here in this neighborhood, it's just nice to see that the sun is starting to come up. So now it's not in complete darkness, but all throughout this area, it's been really like just pockets. We've even seen like what seemed to have been a power surge where the power came back on, but then it went back off just a few minutes later. The last thing just to point out, if you are out and about and you see a power line, Duke Energy wants it to be made extremely clear that you do not touch those power lines, do not drive on them. Safety is key in all of this. Just let the experts handle it. Live in Greensboro, WCNC, Giselle Thomas.
Wow, so a strange glow and it wasn't a fire. Okay.
So interesting there.
Yes.
We do want to know when you hear back. Did you take that picture?
I did take that picture, and just to tell you guys, seeing that glow, I was like, me and my photographer was taken aback. I was like, I could not even explain the emotions that was going through. I just tried to take a quick picture, and we were able to capture that. So something I'll never forget.
Well, kudos to you, and thank you for taking that picture and sharing. And do report back if you find out exactly what was happening there.
All right, Giselle, thanks.
Well, from severe storms to freezing temperatures, we have you covered as you start your day. Make sure you stay with us streaming live right here on WCNC Plus. We will have the very latest on the news that impacts you.
WCNC Charlotte asking, where's the money? The city of Charlotte now working on its annual budget for next year. And today you get the chance to weigh in on how city leaders spend your taxpayer money.
WCNC Charlotte's Destiny Richards is live this morning. She's in Elizabeth to break down how you can make sure that your voice is heard. Destiny.
Yeah, this is one of the earliest opportunities for public input when it comes to next year's budget, and that is a Budget 101 session that's happening tonight. City leaders basically just want to hear from you, but they're also going to give you a rundown of the nuts and bolts of how the city's budget works, and they're going to let you know where your tax dollars are going. Now, again, this is just the start of the process for the City of Charlotte's fiscal year 2027 budget. That takes effect July 1st. City officials say community feedback is critical, especially as they decide how to fund key priorities like housing, public safety, transportation, and job growth. Residents can weigh in a few different ways, including an online survey that's open through April 6th. In the survey, you'll be asked to rank funding priorities and weigh in on what currently feels underfunded, overfunded, or just right. There's even a budget balancing tool on the city's website where you can view last year's fiscal priorities and adjust what funding could look like for the next one. But a good place to begin, just to, again, learn about how the budget works and make those connections with city leaders, is at tonight's Budget 101 session. It's at 6 p.m., 6 to 8 specifically, at Central Piedmont Community College. You do have to register ahead of time, and we have a link to do that at the WCNC app, in this story on the WCNC app. But if you can't make it, there's also a budget listening session that's happening March 31st, where city leaders will hear in-person public feedback on the budget. And all of these opportunities to give feedback are for the city manager. They're going to put together the first draft proposal of the next fiscal year budget and present it to City Council come this May. I'll send it back to you guys live here from Elizabeth.
All right, Destiny, thanks. Right now, multiple agencies investigating the death of a young girl at a psychiatric center in Wadesboro. Police say she died Sunday inside the facility on Wallace Road. The address they provided is listed as Cornerstone Treatment Facility. Police did not share a cause of death, and they say state agents, Child Protective Services, and Health and Human Services are all part of that investigation.
Right now, a man is in jail without bond for a shooting that happened in Concord. Authorities say 60-year-old Jose Sanchez Martinez shot his roommate during an argument at a home on Crowell Drive. That's not far from Union Street. Sanchez is now charged with attempted first-degree murder. Authorities are investigating after an inmate died at a prison in Wayne County. They say 28-year-old Malik Hood was found unresponsive in his bunk Sunday morning at News Correctional Institution. Investigators say they do not suspect foul play. Hood was convicted in Mecklenburg County in 2024 on firearms charges and speeding to elude arrest. Records show he was scheduled to be released in September.
Now, South Carolina Republican Senator Lindsey Graham officially running for re-election. After filing, he held a rally with supporters down in Columbia. Graham has served as a South Carolina senator since 2003. 7:42 right now. In this week's severe weather, a massive tree came crashing down near one family's home, sparking a fire and causing quite a bit of damage. We're going to show you how quick thinking helped everybody stay safe.
.44 now. We've been showing some pictures and video of the damage left behind by those storms yesterday. Take a look at this. This is from a pet grooming in Gaffney, South Carolina. Of course, Gaffney off I-85 if you're heading south. The building sustained major damage, including the roof being ripped off during severe weather. Thankfully, though, no injuries were reported.
In Forsyth County, North Carolina, a family lost their home when a tree fell on power lines, sparking a small fire. Everybody inside, along with neighbors, made it out safely. The tree caused smoke and water damage, and the family now staying in a hotel with the help of the Red Cross. The homeowner says his son and neighbors acted quickly to call 911, and everybody is doing okay this morning. Well, as the cleanup continues this morning, a lot of folks asking the same exact question. If a tree falls on your home, whether it's, say, from a neighbor's yard or public property, who actually pays for that damage?
Well, take a look at your screen now, because these are some pictures of actual trees that fell either on homes or they landed nearby. And now the homeowners are asking what happens next. WCNC Charlotte's Megan Bragg verifies.
A lot of of people are asking if a home is damaged by a toppled tree from either a neighbor's lawn or public property, who's responsible for paying for repairs? Let's verify.
Our sources, attorney Gary Monty and the Insurance Information Institute. The Insurance Information Institute says if a tree lands on your home, you should immediately file with your insurance company. After you file a claim, your insurance company might try to collect from the neighbor's insurance company in a process called subrogation. If this happens and your insurer is successful, you may be reimbursed for your deductible. Attorney Gary Monty says if you notice a tree in your neighbor's yard is rotten, you should tell them so they can fix the issue. If they don't,
It matters if you're proving negligence against someone. Then one of the ways that it would help you to prove that, of course, is if you could show that they knew that the tree was rotten or infirm, or that there was something wrong with the tree. So the insurance company would be standing in the shoes of the landowner and could then turn around and sue the next door neighbor with the tree and say, hey, we've had to pay to have this tree fixed, and we think you should have had to take care of that, and sue them in court on their own.
at the end of the day, experts say it's important to maintain and properly prepare your trees for storms because poor maintenance is not covered by homeowners insurance. With your Verify, I'm Megan Bragg.
All right, check this out. In Hawaii, a storm turned a stream into a raging river, destroying the home of a couple there.
The winds lifted what was left of their home and sent it crashing into the fierce stream below. The couple, both nearing 80, spent their lives building the home they always wanted. Now, the good news, no one was hurt, but unfortunately not much was left.
The whole back half of the house was gone. Bedrooms, living room, half the living room. Mother Nature wins, and she wants you, she takes you. She didn't take us, she just took the house. So we're grateful for that. We have each other, and we're doing fine.
Now the couple says they are starting over, sleeping on cushions inside a storage container with their 2 cats while they are trying to salvage what's left. The couple says they are determined to rebuild.
You need the sunglasses today. Beautiful sunny skies, but maybe even the heavier coat because we only have a high of 48 degrees today. That's ridiculous. With wind chills either side of 40 degrees for much of the day. The gloves, not out of the question for those bus stop goers that are about to head there any minute. Pants are also a must. Coming up, I'll let you know when shorts weather returns. Well, good morning, everyone. We're checking in Gastonia. That's where we're looking from our Dallas camera right now. All is well. And as we look off towards the east where the sun has already risen up, oh, look at that beautiful sunshine. We do have some clouds this morning. I think a lot of those are going to erode, and then we're all in all going to be dealing with those beautiful Carolina blues. I just realized I was looking at a different monitor, so you have no idea what I'm talking about. Well, this is actually on a delay. So eventually you're going to see sunshine switch over. I'm just going to be really patient looking at Gastonia. I didn't realize how big of a delay there was. Try it again. Oh, that's that sunshine that I was talking about for our Mr. Sparky Carolina camera network. And that cloud cover eventually is going to lead to some beautiful Carolina blues. But meanwhile, we have some blue backgrounds representing how cold it is this morning. And realistically, feeling like the lower to the mid-20s still over the next couple of hours. And then even once we're back above freezing, I still think that we have a chance of freezing wind chills as late as 11 o'clock. That's how cold it is today. So yeah, pot of cold, as I've been joking around, is instead of pot of gold, but at least we have beautiful sunny rays for the course of today. 42 degrees right around 1 p.m. 48 is the top right around 5 p.m., which, by the way, it's usually 4 to 5 now that we're hitting our typical high temperature these days, and eventually it'll get a little bit deeper into the 5 o'clock hour. And then our futurecast shows that you might have a chance for a lingering flurry as late as noon, but really it's over the next couple of hours that we'll get rid of some cloud cover. Some will move back, but if you really were to average out the cloud cover today, it is a mostly sunny one. More clouds possible by tomorrow. I think it'll be a partly sunny first half of the day. More sunshine appears a little bit later on, and then we wait for our next rain chance. I don't think it's here for your Thursday. Thursday, I think it's a nice mix of cloud and sunshine, but then we start to see that cloud cover really start to take over late day, and then our rain chance, I think, is really a decaying severe weather system that moves in during the evening and the overnight hours. That's our next chance for rain, and we desperately need the rain. As we've been talking about this drought status, it almost is kind of in our distant memory, but look at this. Our rain chances are nothing during the daytime over the next 7 days. The next two that we have, I mentioned the one on Thursday night to Friday. It's actually Sunday night into Monday, but nothing really widespread. And speaking of widespread, yesterday some areas saw up to an inch of rain, but on average, most of us only saw less than a half inch across the area. So desperate need for some rain. As far as our temperatures are concerned, Jerry Hunt Supercenter 7-day forecast. We're cold for now, but a quick rebound back to the 60s, 70s, next step 80s for a beautiful spring weekend as we spring officially into spring on Friday. All right, Majestic, what's going on?
Good morning, everyone. Well, if you're heading out the door anytime soon, there is going to be a few things you're definitely going to want to know about. We have had a lot of accidents this morning, and this one here is still bringing some delays. I-77, this is northbound, so if you're coming in from South Carolina, York County, this is mile marker 90 out near Carowinds, where roads are moving. Those lanes are moving, but they are moving rather slowly because of an ongoing crash there. Another thing that I'm focusing on is this here. You can see the colors starting to pop up even worse than where they were just about 10 minutes or so. This is Brookshire Boulevard at I-85. And then that accident there in Uptown that I've been following for you for about 20 minutes, that just got cleared. So Uptown, we are all in the green. However, Independence, not so much. This is the outbound lane that is really being impacted by this accident. However, inbound lanes are just slow moving as more people are heading towards Uptown. So this wreck here on Independence is right there at Harris Boulevard. Just take it easy if you are taking Independence today.
Majestic, thanks. Today in women's history, we celebrate the 29th birthday of Katie Ledecky, one of the most decorated swimmers of all time. She's won multiple Olympic gold medals and has broke her own world records in distance freestyle events like the 800 and 1500 meters. Ledecky has also dominated events that were once less recognized in women's swimming, helping elevate their profile on a global stage. Her record-breaking career continues to inspire a new generation of female athletes. Live pictures right now over Uptown as the sun comes up. Cold morning out there to start your St. Patrick's Day. Keep it right here on WCNC+.
Well, good morning, everyone. Check it out. Our Dallas camera looking gorgeous. Lots of sky that is starting to turn those golden hues off into the distance. And that means we're going to see a lot of those Carolina blues a little bit later on. Just letting you know, it is a cold, cold morning so far. Temperatures have really been either side of 30 degrees. We're going to be back to that freezing point here in the next hour or so, and then back to 40 around noon. But we can do a little bit better than this because our highs should be in the lower to the mid 60s this time of the year, 64 to be precise. And that soon over the next couple of days is going to go to 65. And then we have the upper 20s tomorrow, freezing on Thursday. So we have almost done with number 1 freezing morning. Then we have 2 more to go. And then after tomorrow, officially temperatures are back in action into the 60s, the 70s, and then the 80s this weekend. All right, Majestic, what do people need to know this morning?
Good morning, everyone. Take a look at this. This is kind of crazy. Still seeing slick and icy spots up there in the mountains. Even a flurry or two still popping up. This is where those roads are still going to be icy, so be careful there. Otherwise, I-77 out near Carowinds, it is moving slow because of an ongoing wreck. That's I-77 inbound. A bit of a delay. We'll be covering everything for you over on WCNC Plus.
Streaming live right now on WCNC Plus at 8 a.m. I'm Ben Thompson.
And I'm Lisa Washington.
We are following some breaking news right now just north of Uptown, where a CMS bus has been involved in an accident. WCNC Charlotte's Richard Devane now live at the scene. This is on North Tryon Street. So, Richard, parents in the audience hear this and all start to worry. What do we know?
Yeah, let me just step out of the way and let you take a look at what we're looking at as well. You see 2 officers there in front of this school bus or behind this school bus. This is right at North Tryon and Wadsworth. The driver of the school bus now is actually talking to students on that bus, which is apparently from KIPP Charlotte. We can tell you that the driver in that white truck behind it collided with that bus. At this time, we do not know if there are any injuries. Medic has not been called. The driver, now that's the driver of the truck that collided with the bus, says that he checked and said that everyone is okay. I asked the police officers, were there any students on the bus? They gave me a look. Right now, the driver is going around. I just went up to the bus and actually was trying to speak with her. Of course, they're busy. She's going around with a notepad talking to the few students who are on that bus. We don't know how many students are on the bus. We don't know anything other than the fact that this white car, that truck, right in front of that police car, said he collided with the bus. And at this time, we have not seen medic called. We don't know if there are any injuries. We've been told by at least the driver
And apparently we have lost Richard's audio there in that live report, but again, we can see the video there for that CMS bus involved in the accident there this morning. When we get more information, of course, we'll pass that along to you. Right now, though, we're going to check in with Chris to get an update on our forecast. Again, you said the coldest morning in the last 3 weeks?
Yep, it's been 22 days since we have been this cold. 16 degrees right now up in the mountains. Fresh snow coming down, still some snow flurries. A real feel of 7, that's nice. And then we have 31 right now with a 5-mile-per-hour breeze, making it feel like 26 degrees right now around uptown. Dealing with some more clouds, but then things will get a little bit better. As we mentioned, the last time that we were this cold, 25 degrees back on February 24th, literally over 3 weeks. For your St. Patty's Day, a pot of golden sunshine to enjoy. The cloud cover that we're looking at right now, it's not all that vast, so I think all in all today is still going to be a sunny to a mostly sunny one. Picking up more clouds heading into the evening, but still not too bad. Temperatures in the upper 40s, loving that. Today we're going to have an on and off gust though. It's going to make it feel much chillier. We're talking about the upper 40s feeling like the upper 30s from time to time because of what's called a fresh breeze. That's where you have those gusts up to 19 to 24 miles per hour. Small trees are really swaying pretty consistently in these type of wind gusts. You're gonna have those on and off, but nothing like yesterday behind that cold front. It was like, oh man, I thought the winds were over. No, it was a really windy end to the event. It was kind of like a 1-2 punch yesterday, and now it's just punching us with that cold. Our wind chills going forward are going to be in the single digits over the next few hours for you in the mountains. Then you get to feel like a nice warm 10 by around lunchtime. Still feeling like 35 here in Charlotte and freezing around Lincolnton. So as I mentioned, even through the course of the day, as long as the wind is going to be gusty and sustained up to 10 miles per hour from time to time, that's going to make you feel either side of 40 degrees. That's the big significant here. And then by tomorrow, same thing goes. Temperatures down into the 20s with a slight wind chill, either in the preteens up in the mountains or a mix of the 20s. And then tonight, we have our lows right around 29 degrees for Charlotte, 26 for you in Hickory, back to the teens again for Boone, and then one more time around 32 degrees on Thursday, and then we have the lower 40s and lower 50s warming up nicely heading into the weekend. And speaking of, we're about to see those temperatures zoom. First and foremost, we are going to see a rain chance that is on hiatus for most of this week, but if I were to find one, I think you might have a decaying system that's going to move through, so late Thursday evening into your Friday morning, you might have a slight chance for rain. Jerry Hunt Supercenter 7-day forecast. Nothing to be alert about. Upper 40s next couple of days. Just a couple of freezing mornings. Nothing super like a hard freeze or anything like that you really have to protect a lot of those plants. If you have anything delicate out there, maybe you want to. And really, it's temperatures on the rise. Back to the lower 70s for the first day of spring on Friday. The 80s both days this weekend. Something to celebrate. All right, let's get over to Majestic to see how we're starting off the 8 o'clock hour.
All right, good morning, everyone. Let's get to it. I want to show you on my map here because there's a lot of activity that's going on right now. I'm going to zoom it in right near Uptown. This is what Richard was talking about. This is a crash involving a school bus just north of the Uptown area. It happened on North Tryon Street in Wadsworth Place. It's near 15th Street right there. Right now we don't have any reports of any injuries and medics are not there either. So we'll keep you up to date as we're continuing to learn more on that. But again, a truck just ran into a bus, did have some students on the bus, and it's out near Uptown. Another thing, this is Sunset Road westbound at I-77. That's where we have some delays coming in. It's a combination of some delays because of the crash, but also some delays because we are now into that 8 o'clock time frame. Lots of people out and about. And then finally, do want to give you an update on Independence. Those inbound lanes, they're always busy this time of the day, but now those outbound lanes, they're being impacted because of this crash here at Harris Boulevard. So allow for a few extra minutes to get to where you need to be.
We just checked, and now less than 1,000 customers are without power as of this morning. Still, it seems to be the biggest clusters in South Charlotte off Scaly Bark Road and in East Charlotte in the Silverwood neighborhood. Duke says restoration times may be delayed and that current estimates may be adjusted, but clearly making some progress out there. Speaking of East Charlotte, though, we're learning more about what caused the outages in the Eastway community. A large tree fell near High Lake Drive off the plaza. Duke Energy says the tree also damaged some electrical equipment. Neighbors told us they were out of power for a big part of the day yesterday.
I got the alert on my phone first, and within minutes, like a fierce storm came through. and immediately our power went out. There are lots of trees here and low-hanging lines.
The storm, it sounded like a big boom, like it was scary kinda, like it was thunder and stuff with it.
A reminder, Duke Energy says stay away from downed power lines, and if you see them, make sure to report them. A Northeast Charlotte warehouse now needs repairs after the storm ripped off its roof. The National Weather Service confirming an EF0 tornado with about 85 miles an hour hit the warehouse just off Atondo Avenue. That's about, say, 2 miles from Uptown. Workers say they were left in shock.
Sitting at my desk, and then I heard the rumble, the roar of the wind, and jumped up to kind of see what was going on. And that's when I saw all the pallets from the pallet company. They stacked those high against their fence there, and it was literally blowing those up into the air.
The National Weather Service says tornado traveled 1.5 miles. Thankfully, no injuries reported.
Many people faced with damage are now left wondering what's next. We spoke with Charlotte Emergency Management on how you can report storm damage in your area.
We encourage folks that if you see a tree blocking a roadway or if there's a life-threatening emergency to call 911 to make sure that we can send crews out there to clear roadways, clear down power lines and things like that. Again, if you've got questions about city or county services or, minor damage, trees blocking roadway or blocking sidewalks or yards, call 311.
Well, from severe storms yesterday to freezing temperatures this morning, make sure that you stay with us, streaming live right here on WCNC Plus to get the latest information.
Right now, Hickory police arrested a man facing several felony warrants. Reports say police found Johnny Lale unresponsive in a car Monday morning. Officers took him into custody, then sending him to the hospital for an evaluation. He has 10 felony warrants, including felony possession and failure to register as a sex offender. An 18-year-old now in jail after a deadly shooting in Lancaster County. Police say DeAndre Ivy shot and killed 37-year-old Justin Bailey at a home on Thompson Road in Lancaster. They tell us the two were arguing before the shooting. Ivy is now being held without bond.
8:09 now. The fight against the Silfab facility in Fort Mill continues. Yesterday, the group Move Silfab showed up to the York County Council meeting to protest that plant, which has had 2 chemical incidents earlier this month, a leak and a spill. WCNC Charlotte's Tradisha Woodard was there. She shares what the community members are calling for.
Well, dozens stood outside this chamber, boiling with frustration, hoping that this time county leaders will take action against Silfab Solar.
Grace Suskin, tell the truth.
From the streets,
Fire the county manager.
To the seats of power.
All that it takes for bad things to happen is for good people to do nothing.
York County residents making their message impossible to ignore.
That is what leadership looks like.
While some simply want stronger oversight of Silfab Solar operating near neighborhoods and schools, others are pushing leaders to go as far as revoking the facility's certificate of occupancy.
Revoke the CO and protect our kids.
This comes after 2 recent incidents forced the plant to temporarily shut down operations.
The risk is real. It was a warning shot and we got lucky.
The concerns were still not directly addressed by county leaders, but Silfab Solar released a statement saying they're taking steps to address the situation, including working with a qualified third-party professional engineer while updating the state, county, and school officials about work being done at the site. Silfab says it remains committed to the safety of its employees and the surrounding community. But for some, the pressure isn't letting up.
And we want the county to feel the pressure to do what's right and make that happen.
Tradisha Woodard, WCNC Charlotte.
The family of a toddler who died at a Lenore daycare last summer is now suing the former employee involved.
Last May, 16-month-old Maddie Mitchell was found unresponsive after she went into cardiac arrest at Creative Beginnings Daycare. State health officials suspended the center's license and ordered it to close. The former daycare employee, Alexander Coffey, was later charged with involuntary manslaughter.
That lawsuit claims Coffey placed Maddie face down on a sleeping mat, covered her head with a blanket, and laid on top of her. It also alleges that she left the girl unattended for nearly 3 hours without checking on her. Authorities say Maddie died from smothering and not breathing. The family is seeking damages, and they're requesting a jury determine the amount. Before we head to break, here is an exclusive shopping deal for our viewers.
Hey everybody, here at ShopTVDeals.com, we love to bring you products that actually are going to make life a little bit easier and save you money. Sometimes a power wash is really the best thing, but let's face it, it's a big machine, it's loud, it's clunky, all those hoses and cords, plus to get the pros to do it, it's really, really expensive. So why go through all that drama and all that trouble? You need this right here, the Zippy Hydro Cleaner. It's a gun-shaped portable power washer. You literally charge the battery like a cell phone, you slide it here, into the base. And you have a ton of options here. You have a canister that you can attach to the cleaner so you can put in your own cleaning solution, whatever works for you. Plus you have options when it comes to the attachments right here. You can get a precision spray or even a wide angle depending on what you're cleaning. You can connect all of this to your garden hose, but you also have other options. You attach this filter, you put it down in any kind of body of water whatsoever. You could do it in a tub, you could do it in a pool, a lake, doesn't matter. You put it down and all of a sudden you have a water source that moves with you and you can do your tires just like that. So think about cleaning your sidewalk, your deck, your patio, even siding of your home up here. This thing reaches 30 feet in the air. It has a great strong motor on it to get even the toughest of places. Siding, gutters, downspouts, doesn't matter, it does it all. Get this thing now, it would make such a difference. Scan that QR code or check out ShopTVDeals.com.
.15 now, President Trump announced his chief of staff, Susie Wiles, has been diagnosed with breast cancer. The president shared that news on social media, saying that Wiles will begin treatment immediately, but will remain in her role. Wiles later said that cancer was detected early and that she is encouraged by a strong prognosis. She has served as President Trump's chief of staff since the start of his second term and was also a campaign manager for his 2024 campaign.
A federal judge has blocked some efforts by Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to reshape U.S. vaccine policy. The judge ruled that changes by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention to the childhood vaccine schedule did not follow proper legal procedures. Medical groups argued the changes would burden providers and harm patient care. The judge also found Kennedy's move to fire and replace members of the CDC's Vaccine Advisory Committee violated federal law. Protein, of course, a critical part of any person's diet. It helps build muscles, repair cells, and creates new ones as well. But experts say so many people don't consume it the way they really should. Mandy Gaither explains why you need protein at every meal and has simple ways to work it into your diet throughout the day.
It should be on every plate.
Protein is a critical building block for your body, but it needs to be part of every meal.
Spreading out your protein intake leads to the best outcome when it comes to muscle building and sustaining muscle and utilizing that protein.
Julia Zumpano with Cleveland Clinic says your daily protein quota shouldn't be filled in one sitting. Instead, she says to work it into snacks and meals throughout the day. And there are simple ways to do that.
First of all, you want to plan ahead. So the key to optimizing nutrition is planning.
That starts at the grocery store. Zumpano says think about quick and easy protein options for each meal. For breakfast, that could include Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, low-fat cheeses, milk, eggs, sausage, turkey bacon, or Canadian bacon.
Protein shakes are great for snacks or even as a meal replacement.
For lunch and dinner, consider chicken, turkey, fish, lean red meat, or plant-based proteins like lentils, dried beans, peas, nuts, and seeds.
I can't emphasize enough having a large variety of protein sources is really key. And I can't emphasize enough as having them available to you, readily available, so you're able to easily meet your needs.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
That expert says having a variety of proteins to eat will maximize nutrient intake because different sources give you different nutrients. Plus, if you're eating only one kind of protein, like say red meat, that could lead to health problems like high cholesterol or increase your risk of developing heart disease.
A new study finds at least one thing AI isn't very good at: diet advice, especially for teens. A study looked at the type of meal plans that chatbots give young people asking to lose weight. Researchers found the AI-generated tips resulted in 700 fewer calories per day than dietitians recommend. Chatbots also recommended meal plans with too few calories and carbs and too much protein and fat. Inadequate nutrition can be especially dangerous to teens since they are still growing.
Live pictures right now at I-77 near Carowinds. You can see some backups right there. When we come back, Majestic has your latest traffic impacts right here on WCNC Plus.
Welcome back, everybody. You can see those golden rays now starting to shine through. So a little deck of clouds, I think it's going to weaken, and then eventually we're going to see more clouds start to roll back in. Happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody. 31 degrees. It is cold this morning. And good luck to you. So many heaters probably going to be blaring on your cars. And then 26 degrees is the real feel. So we have been dealing with some on and off wind chills, making it feel as much as 10 degrees colder than the actual air temperature. This is a little tough, especially when you had 77, 72. Yesterday was different because we hit this high temperature around this time yesterday before the storms really started to take over. 68 degrees. Well, going forward, it is going to get a little bit better, seeing a nice little march up to the upper 40s, then transitioning to the 60s and then the 70s, which today and tomorrow are very similar. I just think tomorrow has more cloud cover. That's why they kind of imbalance each other out. But it will start feeling more like spring just in time for spring. Now, in the meteorological world, of course, we have been saying since March 1st that it is meteorological spring. For today, your Friday, officially at 10:46 is the vernal equinox. So welcome to that. Sorry, I think my stomach just grumbled. I need to eat something. Temperatures are going to be in the lower 60s, the lower 70s, and then 80 to 84. And then it's either side of 60 degrees from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday time frame. So another big cool down there. But what's been happening is we're wasting no time in the 60s where we should be. Instead, all of a sudden 60s, nope, we're going to go right back to the 70s. That seems to be the continual trend where yet again we get the nice treat of some 80s that get join us for this weekend. So if you have any outdoor plans, this is going to be amazing. Enjoy it. As far as our freezing lows, I know a lot of us are done with these. You don't want these to start off the morning. Well, it gets a lot better. Either side of 30 degrees, 29, then 32, and then the 40s and the 50s take over really nicely. Now, the bottom line here as far as our rain goes, you don't see it because these are daytime rain chances. Our nighttime chances, I think, will spike on Thursday night heading into Friday morning. And then again, Sunday into Monday morning. Then we have a much better chance by about day 2 of next work week. So next, I would say next Tuesday into Wednesday looks to be our next best chance for rain. That's not necessarily good because now that things are really starting to grow, we desperately need the rain. Luckily, we got some yesterday, but we need a whole lot more. But I guess we'll take what we can get and enjoy the sunshine for today for this St. Patrick's Day. All right, let's get over to my friend in green, Majestic, see what's going on.
Good Tuesday morning, everyone. It's definitely busy. We have a lot of different things that are ongoing. We'll start with this live camera look. This one's coming in from York County, so maybe you're taking that morning commute in from York County heading into Mecklenburg County. Conditions are basically spot on, starting to get congested, especially those inbound lanes. We did have an earlier accident that has since been cleared, but still it's just before 8:30, so it's a slow roll. Here's something new for you. This is going to be out towards I-485, the eastern half of it. You can see once we zoom in, this is a crash that's delaying folks for their morning commute. I-485, it's the outer loop right before I-85, so exit 30 specifically, and it's a few miles for that backup. We do have stop and go traffic associated with that crash, so make sure you do plan for that one. Secondly, we're following this new accident, Matheson Ave there at North Tryon Street, seeing some yellow, meaning we have minor delays there. And then we did have that accident, just want to point out, it was right here on I-77 right before Carowinds. It's been cleared, but we do still have a little bit of a delay, so if you're making that inbound commute, it's just going to be a little bit slower than it typically already would be. Guys.
Today in the women's history, in the year 2000, the film Erin Brockovich debuted in theaters. That movie starred Julia Roberts, who made history with a record-setting $20 million payday. She was the first actress ever to earn that much for a single film, and that investment paid off for Universal Pictures as the movie went on to gross more than $135 million worldwide. All right, approaching 8:25 now, time for us to take a quick break on this St. Patrick's Day morning, but make sure that you stay with us, streaming live right here on WCNC Plus.
Welcome, everybody, to a cold start to the day. Good morning and happy St. Patrick's Day. 31 degrees. That's the current temperature right now, with a real feel anywhere from 20 to 26 degrees, factoring in the winds. See this camera kind of doing a little wiggle action right now. 17 degrees right around Boone. Today's high is 48. That is a choice word right there, especially when we had the 60s and the 70s. But sunshine across much of the day today. Upper 40s will be at least the bottom of our 7-day forecast. Brought to you by the Jerry Hunt Super Center. 49 degrees by tomorrow, and it's going to be another freezing start. Near freezing on Thursday, but then a nice little climb. Close to average on Thursday. The 70s just in time for the first day of spring. And the 80s, that's right, a weekend to get excited about. All right, let's see what is slowing things down for your morning commute with Majestic.
Lots of ongoing problems as you're heading out the door, unfortunately. Let me talk you through a couple of important ones. This is going to be I-485 right here. This is specifically the outer loop where we have stop and go traffic. It's because of this crash here that happened about 10 minutes ago. It's the outer loop right before I-85 exit 30, so make sure you do plan accordingly for that. I'll be following every single crash for you over on WCNC Plus until 9 o'clock this morning. Old Concord Road, a new accident reported there right at Greer Road.
Thanks for streaming live on WCNC Plus. It's 8:30. I'm Lisa Washington.
And I'm Ben Thompson. We begin the half hour continuing to follow breaking news just north of Uptown, where a school bus has been involved in an accident.
WCNC Charlotte's Richard Devane is live at that scene on North Tryon Street. So, Richard, I believe the scene has cleared, but what have we learned about this crash?
Yeah, the good news is Ben asked, and we can confirm that there are no injuries of the students. The school bus has headed off to the school that it was going to, Kipp Academy. Let's take a look at some of the Kipp Charlotte, I should say. Let's take a look at some video that this all happened around a little after 7 this morning when that white truck collided with that school bus. There was damage on the front driver's side of that truck, slight damage to the back of the school bus, nothing significant. When I arrived on here, I actually spoke to the driver of the truck. He said he somehow collided with that school bus and that he had checked and that no one was injured, no one was seriously injured. Officers were out here on the scene as well. That school bus, according to the driver of the school bus, belonged to Kipp Charlotte, a charter school, and was heading that way. I asked how many students were on board. The driver told me there were 17 students, all of them in good shape. They were. Then she came out of got out of the truck and started taking pictures of the truck. She spoke with police for a while, and both the driver of that truck as well as the driver of the bus drove off. Those students are going to be okay, according to the driver of the school bus. And right now, that is the scene here as it's cleared. This happened right as you said in North Tryon. All those students are okay, and also the driver of both the truck as well as the bus. We're right here in North Charlotte. This is Richard Vane. Guys, we'll send it back to you.
Welcome back, everyone. We are seeing a nice little upward climb for our temperatures, but it's going to take a little bit. 17 degrees is our current temperature right now around the mountains. That right there, you're looking right around Sugar Mountain. And then we have 31 degrees over here in Charlotte. The sun officially is up, and then we're going to start to see our temperatures warm up closer to the 6 o'clock hour. We'll get back above that freezing point. But it has been a little bit since we have been this cold. Officially, one of the stats of the morning, 31 degrees right now. That is actually the first freezing temperature that we've had, and officially 22 days. Last time we had that was February 24th. Crazy. That was 25 then, so at least we're not that cold. We will have the mid to the upper 20s, though, by tomorrow. So tomorrow looks to be the coldest morning. Today, just by a hair, will be the coldest day. And as I've been saying, we have a pot of golden sunshine, so at least that is going to be a little bit better. Still a beautiful day. Sunshine makes things better. My favorite stat that I share with people, my wife shares this as well, that it always makes you feel about 10 degrees warmer. So sunshine makes you feel about 10 degrees, even up to 15 degrees warmer, depending on the sun angle during the summertime. So you always have to factor that in when you're planning out your temperatures or whatever you're going to do. Because say if you're standing in direct sunshine, that will make you feel a whole lot hotter than say if it's super cloudy or if you're in the shade. We also have a fresh breeze today. So that means that we're going to have on and off wind gusts at about 20 to 25 miles per hour. That means that small trees are swaying in the breeze, and it's much lighter by tomorrow. But the main thing, those on and off gusts are going to make us feel much chillier throughout the day today. Our highs are in the upper 40s, but realistically around lunchtime, if you're outside, you're feeling like it's freezing to 36 degrees. By the middle of the afternoon, you're still feeling like it's 39 to 43 degrees. You need to factor in the winds. You also got to factor in the sunshine, however you're dressing for yourself today, and have the sunglasses because you definitely need them for today. Overnight tonight, 29, that's the bottom. Then we're plain old freezing on Thursday, and then a nice little upward climb, 40s and 50s on Friday and Saturday. And I really like where our trends are going. It's not good that we're not seeing any really big rains. I think you can see our next rain chance Thursday evening into Thursday night. Other than that, really staying dry, but great weather if you're going to the Checkers game tonight. Great weather if you're going to another home game for Charlotte FC on Saturday. Charlotte FC is really lucked out for some of these home games. All of them have pretty much been in the 70s. Well, no difference here. 80 degrees on Saturday, and the top 84 on Sunday, so a weekend in the 80s, something to look forward to. Let's see what's rolling on for our morning commute. It's been pretty busy for you.
We're following an accident on I-485. It's right here, kind of the northeastern half of it. It's the outer loop where we have stop-and-go traffic because of a crash that just happened about 15 to 20 minutes ago. Here it is. It's going to be right before you get onto I-85, so specifically, that's exit 30. I just tracked it for you, and we're seeing a backup of about 8 miles on I-485 of stop-and-go traffic. So that is going to be a big headache and the biggest problem that we're looking at right now for this traffic report. Another thing that I'm following that's relatively new, it's Old Concord Road northbound at Greer Road, where this accident just happened, and I'm seeing delays coming in all directions right there. And then finally, Matheson Ave at North Tryon Street, there was a wreck that was just reported, so we're keeping you up to date with everything. But again, I-485 is going to be the biggest slowdown for you this morning.
The impacts of these storms still lingering, though, this morning. Downed power lines, hidden debris, and weakened trees still pose serious risks on the day after these storms.
So many of you sharing photos and videos of the aftermath after those storms moved through. Take a look at this. You can see the awning. This is at a gas station in Monroe. It toppled over. This is off Highway 74 heading into the town of Wingate.
Over in Cornelius, town officials there sharing some images of a big tree that came down with a wind gust. It happened on Meridian Street, knocking down power lines. Take a look at the root system. You can see just how big that was. And speaking of power lines, hundreds of homes and businesses still without power this morning. Duke Energy says a little less than 1,000 customers right now, 924 still waking up without power, waiting for crews to come out and do it. That number down from 15,000, though, yesterday. A closer look shows most of the clusters are in East Charlotte, in the Silverwood neighborhood, and off of Scaly Bark in South Charlotte.
Well, from severe storms to this morning's freezing temperatures, we have you covered, of course, as you start your day. And make sure that you stay right here with us on WCNC Plus. Coming up in about 7 minutes, we're going to have an interview with a representative from Duke Energy as we talk about what their crews are doing. They are working to restore the power there. Again, that live interview coming up in about 7 minutes.
WCNC Charlotte asking, where's the money? The city of Charlotte working on its next budget. And Day, you get the chance to weigh in on how your taxpayer dollars are spent.
WCNC Charlotte's Destiny Richards is live this morning. She's in Elizabeth, breaking down how you can make sure that your voice and your opinions are heard. Destiny.
That's right. City leaders are hosting a Budget 101 session tonight. It's one of the earliest opportunities for you to learn how the city budget works and, most importantly, where your tax dollars are going. Now, this is all a part of the earliest part of the planning process for the City of Charlotte's fiscal year 2027 budget, which takes effect officially July 1st. City officials say community feedback is critical, especially as they decide how to fund key priorities like housing, public safety, transportation, and job growth. Residents can weigh in a few different ways, including an online survey open through April 6th. In the survey, you'll be asked to rank funding priorities and weigh in on what currently feels underfunded, overfunded, or just right. There's even a budget balancing tool on the city's website where you can view last fiscal year's priorities and adjust what funding could look like for the next one. But a good place to start if you don't know anything about what goes into the city budget, how it affects you, it's that Budget 101 session. It's tonight at 6 p.m. at Central Piedmont Community College. You do need to register ahead of time. And there's also a budget listening session if you can't make it to that. The budget listening session is March 31st. That's where you can give feedback as well. And then all of this feedback is going to the city manager. The city manager is expected to present a budget proposal to city council in May. Of course, all of this information you can find in this story on the WCNC News app. I'll send it back to you guys live here from Elizabeth.
All right, Destiny, thanks. Right now, multiple agencies investigating the death of a young girl at a psychiatric treatment center in Wadesboro. Police say she died Sunday inside the facility on Wallace Road. The address they provided is listed as Cornerstone Treatment Facility. Police did not share a cause of death, and they say state agents, Child Protective Services, and Health and Human Services all part of that investigation.
A man is in jail without bond for a shooting that happened in Concord. Authorities say 60-year-old Jose Sanchez Martinez shot his roommate during an argument at a home on Crowell Drive. That's not far from Union Street. Sanchez is now charged with attempted first-degree murder. Authorities are investigating after an inmate died at a prison in Wayne County. They say 20-year-old Malik Hood was found unresponsive in his bunk Sunday morning at Noose Correctional Institution. Investigators say they don't suspect foul play. Hood was convicted in Mecklenburg County in 2024 on firearms charges and speeding to elude arrest. Records show he was scheduled to be released in September.
Power getting restored all across the Charlotte area as folks wake up this morning. And Duke Energy is going to join us coming up on the other side of this break to talk about the current status of those power outages. That's coming up next right here on WCNC Plus.
8:43 now. We've been telling you throughout the morning about the number of power outages we've been experiencing in our area as a result of those storms that came through. Now, the good thing is, as we've been reporting this throughout the morning, that number has gone down. Right now, Duke Energy has 924 homes and businesses without power in the Charlotte area as a result of those storms yesterday.
Zach Vevrico with Duke Energy joins us live right now on WCNC Plus. Zach, good to see you as always. Give us a rundown. We, for one, are always so grateful for the work of the linemen and linewomen out there because they're out doing the work when none of us else want to be out there. What's the process been like for your crews over the last 24 hours?
Yeah, hey, Ben, good to see you. The storm rolled through yesterday. We had some heavy rain and high winds. And we did see some power outages pretty soon afterwards. It is a process. We go out there where we have some damage. We assess that damage. We decide if it's safe enough to get up and restore the power. And I actually was in Belmont at some damage yesterday. And when they're able to get up there, they get in the bucket trucks and they get it fixed. So we always keep safety in mind. That's the number one priority. We're always thinking about our customers. We don't want anybody to lose power. But when they do, we get out there and get it restored as fast as possible. We did have at the peak about 141,000 outages. We have a lot of those restored this morning. Like you just said on the outage map, about less than 1,000 in Charlotte. But you will see folks from Duke Energy out there today working to restore any lasting outages.
And so, Zach, you were saying, which many people, they hear you, but they're like, it's a process. It takes some time. As soon as your power goes out, it doesn't mean it's going to be immediately restored, because we mentioned the high winds that we had for a good part of the day yesterday. So you have to have certain conditions when the linemen are able to go up to even work on these power lines and poles.
Yeah, wind is a big factor. We can't get those bucket trucks up in the air when wind is at about 30 miles an hour and above. That's for the safety of our crews and the folks in the nearby areas. So yeah, it is a process. We encourage our customers, if their power is out, there's a variety of ways that you can report it. You can text the word out to 57801. You can also report an outage on the Duke Energy mobile app and on our website as well. That gives us that real-time data so our crews can know where the problem spots are. But yeah, I think it's a hard thing to tell folks to be patient because they want their power back on. We all do. We don't want anybody to lose power, but we got to keep the safety of our crews in mind. Those line workers are the real heroes. They're the ones that are out there in the elements and working in conditions that can be challenging to get the power back on.
And speaking of trouble spots, as of this morning at 8:46, are there any big clusters around Charlotte that you guys are still working to try to get resolved right now, or are they just random spots all over the place?
Yeah, Ben, it's pretty scattered right now. That's pretty typical with this type of severe weather. The wind will bring. We live in a beautiful city with a beautiful canopy, but it does create power outages because we have a lot of trees and limbs falling on our equipment. So yeah, it's right now it is pretty scattered across the Charlotte area and across your DMA. So that's just think of it, we're going to have to be going out to a lot of different areas, so crews will have to be kind of scattered throughout the day. But yeah, no major, it looks like kind of in the eastern part of Charlotte, there's a cluster with about 523 and near the Matthews area. I would say that's the biggest one in Charlotte right now. But again, our crews are going to be across the Charlotte area today. One thing I want to remind folks that if you're driving, to and from work today, or you're picking your kids up from daycare, or you're going to a workout class and you see our crews repairing infrastructure, power lines on the side of the road, make sure that you're thinking of workplace safety. Make sure to slow down, give them lots of room. We want to make sure that the folks that are up in the bucket trucks are as safe as possible. So, treat that work zone as safe as possible, and just slow down, drive safe.
And give them the space that they need, because that is important work. All right, Zach Vavrica, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. Keep it right here on WCNC Plus as we take live pictures right now over Uptown Charlotte.
Hi, this is Sprinkle. Time for our Tuesday Tail Wagger along with our friends over at Animal Care and Control. This time last week we featured Cookie, and that sweet Cookie is still there, still waiting for forever home. Maybe it'll happen today. Let's bring out today's Tail Wagger, and this is Janie, a great dog. Janie is about 4 years old, weighs right around 50 pounds. House trained, crate trained, loves kids, especially little kids. Doesn't bark a lot, kind of laid back most of the time, and loves those squeaky toys. Her name is Janie, available today. House trained, crate trained, knows some commands. All the accolades. You can check her out at Animal Care and Control. They're open Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m., Saturday and Sunday, both days, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. She's also a tongue wagger. Check her out. That's Janie, our very special Tuesday Tail Wagger. I tell you what, this kind of day, the weather will make you wag in the morning and maybe smile in the afternoon. Chris, how's it checking out?
It is looking gorgeous, much better than yesterday, because here's some of the images that we saw from the biggest storm damage. That this is really a hot site for the National Weather Service. Richard was talking about this earlier as well, where you had part of the roof ripped off. You could see just part of that tree that was just completely lopped off. This is what 85-mile-per-hour winds can do. So 85 miles per hour was the max speed associated with this in EF0, which, by the way, this is the strongest an EF0 can be. Once you hit 90, then you're talking about an EF1. Path length is about 1.5 miles, but Majestic, myself, and Brad, we're all following right here on WCNC Plus. Hopefully you joined us. This like little tight spin, and we could see it before it actually touched down, and then it started to try to rejuvenate itself. And we actually saw through multiple different cameras. We saw through our Kannapolis camera, we saw through our Monroe camera that there was some rotation on the cell, but nothing else was able to make a contact with the ground. Meanwhile, we had winter weather advisory behind all this. Started seeing snow late afternoon up in the high country, even some snow over in Alabama. What a wacky weather system. Well, this should already be done, but they did extend it a little bit more here in Avery County for some of the higher up elevations, really above 3,500 feet. And our satellite and radar still has a few of those flurries that are flying up in the high country, but all in all, not a bad situation. We have this little trough that's starting to weaken. We will see more clouds. They'll start to greet us a little bit later on. Seeing this one little train of clouds just along that dying out trough, that's going to allow for a sunny sky a little bit later on, and then eventually we will break this big cooler pattern, just not right away. Today is technically the coolest day by 1 degree. Tomorrow is the coldest morning. And then we have the 60s, the 70s. By the way, the official start of spring is on Friday, then the 80s this weekend. Something to get excited about. All right, one last look here in WCNC Plus of our morning commute.
All right, good morning, everyone. We're following still a few accidents that you'll want to know about as you're heading out the door. Don't forget to grab that jacket. It is cold outside. Still seeing some slick and icy spots there as well up in the high country. We are still following this delay here. This is I-77 southbound and those northbound lanes mainly. There was a crash there and it was just cleared not too long ago, but I am still seeing some of those impacts there. So northbound on I-77, it's a slow roll, and that crash there was on those southbound lanes. And then Little Rock Road at I-85, a new crash was just reported. You'll want to keep that in mind as you're heading out the door. Guys.
Majestic, thanks. We're going to take a quick break as we take a live look right now inside our live impact studio. Coming up, Jane Montreal is going to take over the top of the hour. She's going to be showing you St. Patrick's Day Parade happening right now in Dublin live. That's up next right here on WCNC Plus.
Well, good morning, everyone. We're officially above the freezing point. Well, at least here in Mecklenburg County. 33 degrees right now, 29 over in Statesville, 29 for you in Hickory. And the camera's shaking around a little bit just because of how breezy it is. But trust me, the clouds that we're dealing with right now will eventually lead to all blue skies, you can see over here. And our St. Patrick's Day forecast looking to be a splendid one. Temperature's already at that freezing point. Now we're going to be right around the 37 degree point by 11 o'clock. Either side of 40 degrees for lunchtime and mid to the upper 40s. Still feeling like the lower 40s for much of the day, but that's okay. We will get a little bit warmer because then before you know it, back to the 60s and 70s and the 80s this weekend. All right, Majestic, take it away.
It's a beautiful start to the day, but it is cold outside. So as you're heading out the door for your morning commute, yes, you'll want a heavier jacket. This is I-85 right here. This is out near Little Rock where you can see conditions are looking all right. Spot on, a little busy, but at least it's dry today. Still following I-485, this is the outer loop right here where delays are at a stop and go because of this crash. It's right before I-85, so exit 30. You'll make sure that you'll want to allow for plenty of time to get to where you need to be. This is about an 8-mile backup, and another crash just reported here on Old Concord Road. Have a great day.